All right, we're going live, and I'm home, chilling today. Took the day off because my wife had a minor eye appointment procedure. She went and did that. She's resting and letting her eye rest. And one of the things I figured I'd do is catch up on some artwork and keep myself in my studio and give her some resting time. So I said, share it with you guys. So this is probably all you're going to see of me. I'm going to rearrange the camera so that we can look at the art. Bear with me. You'll still hear me. So I'm just rearranging the camera. I don't want you guys to get motion sickness or anything. Let's see how we can arrange this. Sorry, I gotta flip you guys around here somehow. Okay, good. All right, let's see. Okay, so here we go. Working on a piece that I started from a blue line that I grabbed from John Byrne of the X-Men, the Hidden Years, where he kind of continued his story on his own of the X-Men from a certain point in the book. And I really like this picture of Crystal and Cyclops. So what I'm going to try and do is ink this a little better. I think I'll color today too. So as normal, you'll see me coloring and inking, and we'll talk. My wife's doing fine. I can't see the, let me see if I can get back to the, there we go. So as people pop in here, and again, if you're not catching me live and you see it later, by all means, please leave comments, and I'd like to touch base with people. So especially if you're a local friend or artist that I know, or somebody that's new and you want to just talk about art, I'd love to talk to you. I enjoy creating art. Now, as far as professional art, one of the things, I guess it goes with your definition of professional. Have I sold art in the past and made money? Yes. Have I worked on an actual book or anything of one of my fans that I'm a fanboy of? No. So in that sense, I don't consider myself a professional. I have sold art. I started airbrushing, actually, in Kansas. And I would do T-shirts and things of that nature. And then I started doing commission work. My profession is I'm in the medical field by trade, but I've always loved art. But I've never taken any real art courses per se. I did so in junior high school and in high school, but I was never a very, I don't know if you would say a good student or rather a patient student. So I would lose patience, and I'd only want to draw comic books. I just love comic books, cartoons, G.I. Joe at that time, all that stuff. And I wasn't really looking at the fundamentals. And I really wish I would have took the time and I had the patience. Another factor was we didn't have a lot of money, so I didn't have the tools. And I picked up what I could. I wouldn't say I was a self-taught artist because I do look and follow, and been very fortunate to have some very, very good mentors in the art field, both friends and family that have helped teach me, excuse me, about the art. And then I'm learning. I mean, you're always considering consistently learning. And I've been very fortunate. I mean, I've had some really heavy hitters. I don't want to drop names or anything like that because I didn't talk to them about it. But if you've watched any of my other videos, I love supporting my friends. So this little trick that I learned, I will drop a name here right now, Walden Wong, and I'm actually enlisted in a mentorship program with him through Patreon. And one of the things that he showed me was using blue lines, which are photocopies of actual works and pencils. And so what they do is, with these blue lines, you can then take them and learn from them. And that's something that really was so beneficial because I was out of frame. Not only was I learning how to ink, but I was learning how the anatomy and how the pencilers were doing the work, and that helped me tremendously. I still got a ways to go. Listen, I know the internet, usually you're going to have a lot of detractors. You're going to have people that are talking negative. You got all sorts of things, and everybody has something they can learn, and they have good days and bad days. But this is something I enjoy. And if you don't like it, what do they say? Change the channel. So you take these blue lines and you can actually draw on them directly. What I'm choosing to do with this piece, and let me see if I have it. With this piece, what I did was I wanted to light box it so that I could focus just on this page or this panel. And I kind of blew it up a little bit so I can play with it and do some other things with it. Now, my son's an artist too, and an excellent artist. And he does a lot of this on the computer. And one of the things we did, my father and I, and my father wanted to make sure he had an opportunity to have the tools that he needed to succeed. And so my father wanted to, this was before he died years ago, he got him a computer, an Apple computer, so that he could focus on his art. So my son does a lot of his stuff digitally. And I love it. I love watching his work and stuff like that. When he lets me watch work or watch him or access to the work. A lot of times when you see me post pictures of his stuff, it's because I snapped them while he was away, because I work a different shift than he does. So when he's not home and I'm cleaning the house, it's my house, I'm going to take photos and keep copies because I'm very proud of his work. Very proud. But yeah, he does all this digitally. He does really good work. He does more of an anime type creator. He's working on a graphic novel that he's doing for part of his portfolio. But you take these blue lines and you can ink on them directly, or what you can do is you can take that and either light box it or are we still there? Okay. I don't know what I hit. Sorry, this camera's driving me crazy. Hey, Alex, how's it going, buddy? Love you, man. Good to see you. All right, so I'm trying to position the camera so it'll capture what I'm doing, but not get in my way. So bear with me, guys. That's not working. Yeah, I think I need to invest in a better system for my camera. All right, let's see if that works. Here we go. So with this, again, I did light box it because I want to try and do something different. I am looking at making some shirts and stuff. So let's see if I do this the right way. I want to go from a thick to a thin and kind of separate, add some depth. And this is hair that we got going on. Gotta be careful. I get a little heavy-handed at times. I'm trying to separate different portions of this thing. So this hand here is forward from the rest of the body. So I want to give it a little more depth. So it kind of looks like it's shooting forward. And I want to go real light here to give me some shade. Right under the fingertips, like so. Usually when I stop talking, it's because I'm kind of breathing or holding my breath a little to allow me not to go too crazy on the lines. So this boob here is going to be above that arm. So this here is going to be a little darker, hence the shade. And then she's standing in front of Cyclops. So we got to give her a little space there. Okay. All right. So what I do that's a little different, we're going to go ahead and color in that background Cyclops. Bear with me. I'm going to definitely have to invest in a camera holder that I don't have to maneuver so much. All right, so this is the blue and yellow Cyclops costume. Very similar to what he wore towards the beginning of the X-Men, more towards Neil Adams era. May he rest in peace. Those of you that don't know, Neil Adams was a very influential artist in comic books. Started in the ad game, doing commercial ads, and he had a very, very clean and dramatic draftsmanship to his work. And he brought that to comic books. And he started, I don't know if he started with DC or not, but he worked with both Marvel and DC. And he was very influential in the Ra's al Ghul issues of Batman. And that was some of the best artwork at the time that showcase a more streamlined or more athletic build Batman. And then you had his work on the Green Arrow, Green Lantern, Hard Traveling Heroes. And those covers just always jumped out at you. And then he also did the Superman versus Muhammad Ali. So he had some really good work. Then he did the X-Men just before they canceled, and then they came back as the Uncanny X-Men, the international version from Giant Size X-Men. But he had that run before there, introducing Sauron and all those other things. And let me tell you, his work was tremendous. My favorite story, when I first started going to comic conventions, believe it or not, even though I was born and raised in New York, I never went to a comic book convention until after moving to Kansas with the military. In fact, my wife was the first person that took me to a comic convention, and it was glorious. I met John Byrne there. That was the first time I ever met one of my heroes in the artwork. But then later on, when we moved to Florida, actually, I started going to more conventions because Florida has MegaCon. That's a pretty big convention every year. And Neil Adams was there. And I was like, this is incredible. And I wanted to meet him. But he always had a humongous line. And if you know Neil Adams, when he hits the convention circuit, he has a way of displaying his work so that he needs multiple tables, and it has to set it up like it's a shop. And it's kind of like a corral of all his stuff. And he was always a good businessman, and he was always charging for everything. When people started taking cell phones, he's one of the first ones to start charging people to take cell phones because it holds up the line and keeps people from moving. But he was also very, very cantankerous. He could be, he would bust, excuse my language, but he would bust your balls. And being from New York and, you know, having so many cousins and there's 4 kids, 5 if you count my dad, growing up, you know, we knew how to bust balls and take care of each other and fight back and talk back, you know, talk crap to people. So he was there, and it was just kind of funny how he was talking, going back and forth. And I really enjoyed the back and forth. But it was one of these times where I decided I wanted to actually start having my own booth and showing some of my work. And I watched him tear apart this one guy. And I was embarrassed. I was embarrassed for that guy. And I was like, oh my God. And he turned around after the guy had left, and he says, I forget who he was talking to. He says, if he comes back, he'll make it. He'll just have to come back and show he's tough enough to make it here. And I heard that. I was like, holy cow. I never showed him work of my own. I did watch as he goes back and forth with a friend of mine, cool as heck and everything like that. They used to always have booths next to each other. And it was funny watching them go back and forth. But I was afraid. I was afraid to show the work because I didn't know if I could take the critique. But everything I've seen of him is how he takes those that do come back and he really, really helped them move forward. So, yeah, I think my favorite person to meet in a convention, there's a top two for me is oh goodness, I could go on and on. I know Mark McKenna is always great when he's at conventions. He's an inker. And then Darryl Banks was really nice to me at Heroes Convention. And he was so helpful. I count him as one of my mentors. Mark too. Mark McKenna is really, really good friend. But Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Connor, they're awesome. Now, my Amanda Connor story. Hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can position this. My Amanda Connor story is that I would take my son to these conventions, and he liked watching the cartoons with me, Super Friends, and then of course JLA and JLA Unlimited. But his favorite cartoons were usually SpongeBob and stuff like that. And we went to MegaCon, and George Paris was always at MegaCon, unless he had some health problems. And when he was at MegaCon, we went to go see him, and my brother was with us, I think, at the time. And we stood online just to see him, and there's a humongous line, and he was at the Hero Initiative booth. And as we were standing online, they gave out these raffle tickets. So, we just took a raffle ticket. We're standing on this enormous line, and then all of a sudden they say, you won. They called out our number, and I said, okay, what'd we win? They said, well, you get a drawing from George Preston. I said, oh, okay. So we stayed in the line until we got to him, and then they got the picture, and he goes to George Press. He goes to my son, he goes, what do you want to draw? And he goes, SpongeBob. And George Perez was like, well, I could probably draw SpongeBob. I just don't have reference for that right now. We got a really big line. But I draw Superman and Batman. Would you like one? So he told him Batman. My kid was a toddler at the time. And it gave us an idea when I had told that story to Jimmy Palmiotti. He said, you know what? You should get every artist to draw, because Christopher wanted a SpongeBob, and Amanda Connor was so nice. She drew a SpongeBob for him. And I do have that on my Facebook if you go check it out, where different artists, and Jimmy said, you have every artist draw a SpongeBob for this kid. And it's a little booklet that he has with all these artists drawing their version of SpongeBob. So it's pretty cool. All right, let's see. This pen's running out. All right, guys, I'm going to cut it short here just because I'm having to hold this thing. I'm going to figure out how to get this better, but I do plan on having a live stream on Friday where I'm going to do some inking. And I'm going to do a promo later that'll show you that. But keep on there. Keep an eye on my site and like, comment, and again, subscribe to my YouTube channel. It's Theo Michael Talks. And not only do I do the art, but I also show some toys and go over some things and talk about the medium in general. Thanks for checking in, and I hope you guys have a good one.